In this video, what I want to showcase to you is maybe a couple of lighting tips that you might find helpful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin with the kind of lighting scenario that you might typically start with and how to get something close to this. The principle is that you want to light your environment first, and you want your light environment in a way that it looks good. It's not clipping, it's not bright. So just so you understand where I'm at, what I'm recording with right now, we're in my garage studio. So let me give you a quick tour of what this place looks like. So in terms of how I'm lit right now, I've got a little LED thing in the back that's kind of sectioned off with a piece of styrofoam. I have a colored LED light that I got really cheap off of Amazon that's bouncing off the ceiling. And then at the same time, I have a white screen of a monitor, right? It's not even anything professional, right? And a little white writing board that I would write with. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and set up the good old ring light. So typically what would be your standard practice is you take that ring light, this big clunky thing, and you place it right here, right? And you turn that thing on full blast. You mount the camera on. From here, you might adjust the brightness or whatever. So bring that down to auto, and you've got this really flat look. This camera right here, it's not even a full frame camera. It's a cropped sensor. It crops in 1.5 times or 1.6 times than a Sony a7 III or a Sony a7S III. Now, it's not about the sensor size, it's about understanding the look that you're trying to get. You have maybe books in your background. I have a little it's abstract kind of cut design. What a lot of people typically do, they're like, all right, I'm just gonna light myself and I'm gonna get the appropriate zooming or whatever, and make sure that my background is plenty blurred out. It looks clean, but it's flat. There's nothing creative about it. In fact, this light is so bright that it has completely canceled out any of the accents that I might have had. I canceled out the edge light over there. It canceled out the bounce light. It's just so bright. And the only reason to use a ring light so up close is so that you can achieve the beauty look. And that beauty look happens only when you do this. You get that whole, hey, I got circles in my eyes. This is the only instance in which the ring light, it makes sense to have in front of you. Now, don't mind the noise. This is an older ring light, so there's gonna be some static stuff. Now, if you're gonna use the ring light, what you wanna do is you wanna use it in a way that diffuses the power and intensity of it. Here's the thing. I've lit my room, this garage studio, in such a way that doesn't matter where I sit, almost, it makes for an appropriate looking kind of setup. I can sit here, right? I've got the background, it's like a set. If I sit at the table, right here, I got my computers in the background. That's part of the ambiance. Or if I have it over here, I'm separated from the backdrop. So each one of these is following the same principle in each case. The principle is that you want to light your environment first, and you want your light environment in a way that it looks good. It's not clipping, it's not bright. Now, you might have shiny objects. It may not be shiny, but it's white. It's gonna be very, very bright. And so the alternative is to go completely black. But as you'll notice, I don't want it to be completely black. That's why I've actually have lights behind the monitors to make it a different color. The objective here is to light your background first. Then when it comes to you being on screen, the next step is to make it so that you're separated from the background, something like an edge light, so that way it gives you a halo or an outline so that you're separated. And then you light up your face in a way that gives it dimension. That's basic principles. Right now, when you have something that is so bright and intense as a key light, such as this ring light here, very similar to the one that you have, except yours is a little bit newer, the thing that you want to consider doing is softening it. So literally just got a white sheet. I threw it over the light itself. And then, so we got the light facing this way, bounce it against the door, even lean it up against the door if I have to. And boom, we're like, now there's dimension to my face. I can even zoom in on the lens a little bit, pull back, give me a little bit less, giving myself a little bit more compression, and you're good to go. If I were to even, I could stand up on this, but I've designed this space so that it could be seated. But regardless of whether you're sitting or standing, the key thing with regards to the ring light, you got to follow the principle. Principle number one is light your background first. Make the environment, the set, stand out. You don't want to shine the light straight on it. And a key principle to look at this is when, if you're outside, the environment, the landscape looks most beautiful during sunrise and during sunset, because the light is not coming down harsh. It's coming from the edges. It's coming and it's diffused. There's all this atmosphere that the light has to go through in order for the thing to look good. And so, and even in my case, before I even turn on the ring light, now it made everything a little bit brighter, but it's adding as a means to simply light me up a little bit better. I could even do without it because I've got the monitor. And even let's say I were to darken the monitor. So let's say I close out that window, I close off that edge light, and I simply bring that light. Let's let me take you with me. And I take this light and I bounce it off the black. Right, that's another option. Right, we'll bring this over. Right, so because now it's gonna be soft because it's coming off of the, it's bouncing off of a black background. The key thing is to make the light soft enough so that it works to give you dimension. It's not about having light come at you. In fact, the principle in cinematography is that you shoot into the light. When you shoot toward the light, then what you're doing is whatever object that you are, capturing is gonna have dimension. And so the whole idea is to point the camera towards the shadow. So the light is coming towards the lens is facing the shadow side of the object that it's trying to capture. And so when you capture the shadow side, that's what gives the moon, its curvature when you look at it, because the sun is coming at it from a particular angle. As opposed to a full moon, the moon just looks like a flat cheese cookie, whatever it is that you want to call it. So, but always having some sort of like little light or something just to kind of bounce off of one side, coming at it from an angle, is what's going to give you a little bit of that dimension. So what I would suggest is consider the ring light not as your main light. Focus on lighting up the background first. So if you look at the video that I did way back with Yasser Qadi, that video showcases a similar background to yours, where it's lighting his bookshelf, and then what I do is I light him with a separate light. And so it's two different lights, the lighting of the background and the lighting of the subject. And that is what kind of gives him his dimension and, background. So let me know if this helps. Part of it is process and following principles, and the other part is just making sure that you're gonna have to try things out a little bit here and there. So I hope that's helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to do a demo for you.